Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Wild, a Korean crime movie from 2023. This was a random viewing for me. I did a Google search for recent Korean movies and it popped up. I decided to watch it. After serving prison time for killing his opponent during a match, a former boxer returns home intending to forget his dark past, but he is quickly entangled in a bloody feud between an old friend, a corrupt cop, and a dangerous drug smuggler. Now, The Wild starts off fairly flat, ironically. The opening scene is just a cliche. Our protagonist gets out of prison, he vows to live a legitimate, quiet life. Of course we know that's not going to happen. After a nasty dude assaults a woman, our protagonist follows him, beats him up, and teaches him a lesson. And to no one's surprise, that gets him roped into the criminal underworld. Now, the idea is very static in this. The story is it lacks momentum to develop a primary conflict. By the 40-minute mark, I still had no idea what the conflict was going to be, which in some films is a positive, but in this case, it's a negative because the movie fails to engage the viewer in its setup and character interaction. We get a lot of scenes in this film showing criminals talking to each other about general crime stuff. I can't even remember most of what they discussed because it was basically nothing. There are a few shallow statements of life philosophy, but there's so much wasted dialogue in this movie that serves very little purpose. And by the midpoint of this film, I just stopped caring about anything that was happening. There is one decent twist at the end that I did not see coming, but it's too little too late at that point. The female characters in this have almost no development, and they exist simply to get mistreated by the men. Now, in an exploitation movie, or a dark horror film or something like that, this makes sense for that type of film. It does not work in this movie, and certain moments just seemed a little excessive. You know what I mean? Did you really need to include this scene in this movie? I don't know. I disagreed with the way they went with that element. The flashbacks are a bit odd in their presentation, almost seemingly hallucinations, but they're kind of not. I didn't really like those either. Now, the performances are good, and you will recognize a few of these actors. Park Sung-woo has been in a bunch of stuff over the last 25 years. Oh Dal-soo has a supporting role. However, no one is really pushed to do anything particularly difficult or impressive in terms of acting. That aspect is merely fine. Now, I have seen this film classified as an action movie. Barely. It's a drama/action hybrid. There are a few short boxing matches, and there are a few fights during the final act, like fights to the death. And they do include some bloody bits of violence, but there's no excitement to be had here, folks. There really isn't. My assessment of The Wild is that it's a dull, forgettable crime film. You could just skip it. So if you've seen this one pop up and you're thinking about watching it, I say don't bother. But if you do decide to check it out, for some reason, it is available on YouTube and Amazon. If you liked it, let me know why. And as always, folks, I'll see you next time.